Bill, my buddy, came up with the concept, and I was just finishing up a documentary called Crossing Over, the Sam Cooke story for American Masters. And I was just done with that, and I needed a break, because I went through a whole lot dealing with that. And then Bill called me, I was in my backyard. I was like, okay. He said, look, I got something. I said, what? How about getting together and doing a documentary film on dark-skinned women? And I said, I'm in. It was just that simple, that I'm in. Because I was emotionally connected to that. Me growing up as a dark-skinned little boy in East Orange, New Jersey, Maplewood, New Jersey. Bill growing up in Poughkeepsie as a dark-skinned little boy. We emotionally knew exactly what that meant and what that felt like. To being two dark-skinned little boys, to grow up to be dark-skinned men and going through the things we went through. Not having dates, not being attractive enough, being put aside for things. And then also with me, is that in my family, I remember someone in the kitchen when my parents had some people over, and I was in the hallway and someone was talking about, and I had to be like maybe 8, 9 years old, he's really dark, and and I heard that from adults talking about how dark I was. So it had a profound effect on me. So when Bill came to me with that, I said I knew exactly what this was. But it's even worse for women, because dark-skinned men have come to vogue now.
When you try and tackle a subject like this, how do you start to decide the structure before you start filming? What were some of the immediate things that came to mind for how you wanted to approach this?
Well, I had written out an outline. You know how we write outlines as filmmakers, we write outlines like we want to go to this stage, this stage, this stage, this stage. And then after doing the interviews and interviewing so many women around the country about, hey Joey. Hi. Joey's our poster lady of Dark Girls. Hey Joey. Hey Joey. And her husband Kurt is in the movie. Hey sir, how are you? I'm sorry, I had a moment there.
When you're trying to turn a topic into a compelling story.
We had put things on paper, and then I started doing interviews and talking to women, and then the story started changing. Every time I talked to a woman or a little girl, I went to Atlanta, I went to Mississippi, I went to New York, Bill went to New York, I went to Oakland, I went to everywhere, LA, and every woman I talked to, I was affected by it.
What were some?
Changed the story.
What were some of these changes? What surprised you the most? What that sort of wasn't part of the initial script.
That pain is pain. Whether it came from the South, whether it came from a 13-year-old girl, whether it came from my beautiful 5-year-old Asha up there on the screen, who was a 93-year-old woman from Texas. Pain is pain. That was probably the deepest thing. And the most powerful thing I learned.
Did that then kind of modify the way that you would conduct the interviews the further along in the process?
No. You know what, Alex, I never have paper in front of me when I do interviews. I start to talk to the person. We have a conversation. And I get a chance to have them open up to me and tell me the truth about what life is for them. Some people say it's a gift, but I just love talking to people anyway, to find out how they tick and what makes them tick. And that's how I got these stories. The interesting thing about this film is that there's so many deep stories that are not in here. that didn't make the cut. The film would have been 6 hours long. Trust me, in like 4 parts, if we would have put everybody in. Some of the stories we heard were just incredible stories. You know, Bill did an interview with this woman in Poughkeepsie, where he's from, that this woman had never sat in the passenger seat of a man's car, and she was 47 years old when we interviewed her. She always drove. And that every time she dated this man, they never went to restaurants. They went to things that were dark, places that were dark, the movies. And then she would go back to her place and cook for him. But these are some of the tragic stories that so many women have gone through. And I believe if you went through every woman in here, whether dark, light, brown, whatever, there's a story here.
I'm curious a little bit, by the end credits, you have a very long list of donors. Is that, was that part of a Kickstarter campaign? How did you raise the money? And is this, you know, a model that we can sort of learn from for documentary filmmaking?
Yeah, we had, I forgot the name of the fundraising thing on the, it was like a Kickstarter thing, yeah. But it was something else, the other one.
Indiegogo.
Thank you, Charles Murray. Indiegogo. And I had come out of my pocket, Bill had come out of his pocket, and that's how I do all my films. And then I had to dip into my wife's bank account a little bit when she wasn't looking, and get the films done. But it was, that long list of credits there was just some of the women and some of the men who went into their pockets and gave us money to finish up this film. And if you're here, I thank you and I love you.
All right, I'm sure there's tons of questions out here, so who wants to, yes?
Be kind, I haven't been drinking yet. Hey, Frank. Hey, Anita. Let's go with Anita first.
Oh, sorry.
Well, I noticed Norman Lear's name on there, and just thinking of all of the programming he did from the early 70s to now, what was his involvement? Just curious.
She's asking about Norman Lear's involvement in the project.
He's a friend of Bill's.
So for everyone that's in the front of the auditorium, it's hard to hear in the back. So if you don't mind, if you're asking a question from this half of the theater, just stand up and speak loudly if you can. But sorry, yes.
My question is, do you have a distribution plan? What is your distribution plan domestically and internationally?
The distribution plan for Dark Girls. Well, to make a long story very short, the film premiered in September at the Toronto Film Festival, and we had 5 screenings of the film, 2 were for press and the other 3 for the public. And we sold out every show, 2,000 people saw it. It was a blessing. So, after the 4th screening, someone in LA from the Variety magazine, and then someone from LA from Hollywood Reporter, wrote 2 horrible, horrible reviews of Dark Girls. And the night before it came out, someone sent the copy to Bill on his phone, and we were at a party. We just got to the party in Toronto, and Bill read the first line, and he skipped to me. I was like, what's wrong? What are you doing this for? So I read it, and I was like, what? I was so upset that I ended up leaving the party, and this, I said, I just can't stay here. I actually walked, the party was away from a hotel. I walked that night from just seething. I got back to my hotel and I just broke down and started crying. I can't, the kids here, right? I can't say what I said. But you feel me, don't you? Okay. So, I couldn't sleep all night. I tossed and turned. And then when I finally went to sleep, I woke up. And God had given me a gift to flip this anger into something that was positive. So this is what I came up with. How about if I take what Oscar Michaud did and what Tyler Perry is doing, and I kind of mix it together with what I think, and this is what I came up with. To bypass Hollywood distribution game, how about if I just went through a friend of mine, Bay Area Productions, who do concert promoting, and decided to put the film in a concert setting and take it around on tour.
Wow, great idea.
So I said, let me call Lionel B. up in Oakland. I said, Lionel, how about if we, all the venues that you take Janet Jackson and Earth, Wind and Fire and Anita Baker, I want that audience. He said, what are you talking about? I said, I'm going to take a film on tour and make it an event. It's already a movement with women, but make it an event. He said, what do you mean? He said, the event would be the screening, and then Bill and I would travel with the film and do a question and answer period afterwards. He said, brilliant. I'm in. So we booked the tour. We went to 14 cities in 2 countries, and we sold out every single one except for 2. And the places we have played have been from 1,200 to 4,000 seat theaters and sold out. Top ticket was $50. Low ticket was $25. The $50 tickets sold out quicker than $25 tickets for a documentary, a black documentary about black women in America in this economy. That tells you how much we needed to see this, how much healing that needed to be started. And that's what I came up with. And that's what I'm doing. So now there are 3 deals on the table for distribution.
Wow.
And people are saying, well, what about this person? What about that person? Well, I can't tell you what Oprah wants. All I can say is that I think it would be great to have this premiere on her channel right now. I think we can both help one another. So let's get enough
In the back.
I'd like to know how you found so many women. Did you put an ad out? You said you went to different states and different cities, and you put an ad in the paper, and women came and were interviewed, and you selected the ones that you wanted?
Good question, thank you. I did the MCI plan, Friends and Family. I called you up, and you said, I know a sister, or I have a sister, or I have a mother, or I have a cousin who would like to talk to you. And that's how I did. I just went around asking people who I knew, who knew somebody, MCI plan. Yes, young lady. The princess right here. Stand up, princess.
When the 4-year-old, I think, she pointed to the people on that paper.
Yes.
Did you tell her to do that, or did she do that by herself?
Good question. Unfortunately, she did that by herself. Unfortunately, she did it by herself. Painful. For me, for Bill. Very, very painful. Frank.
Well, congratulations, Jan.
Thank you, my brother.
I just instinctively recognize the importance of this film. And right off the bat, it is such a secret to white America. I mean, most America, white America, has no idea of this type of pain that a lot of black women experience. And so now, I don't know that that means anything, that they know about it, but I think it's important because we're all Americans. But, you know, myself, I mean, I remember talking to a friend, and he said, oh, this, you know, this brother was dark. You know, he said, not Wesley Snipes dark, but... And I just found that very odd, you know? It's like established, and then I remember seeing A Soldier's Story, an unbelievable movie. And adult Caesar screaming, you geechee, high yeller, and I was saying, what does all this mean? It's like Ofe. What the hell does that mean? There's like a whole culture, subculture, there's a whole world of Americans that are being not talked about. And I think that this is not only an important documentary for the black community, especially black women, you know, I think that it's important for white America too, to realize, hey, by the way, you know all this pain that you foisted upon this culture, there's even more that you don't even know about. You know? And I'm proud of you. I'm proud to know you.
Thank you, Frank.
Wow, that's awesome.
Let me just say this. Bill and I put out a trailer, and the trailer was out for 93 days, no, I'm sorry, 87 days, and it got over 900,000 hits in 87 days. So we broke that down to finding out where the major hits were coming from. And these are the 5 countries: United States, Canada, England, and here we go with the last 2, Germany and France.
Wow.
Not the continent, not Brazil, not China, but Germany and France. That's when I knew that we had something. That's when I found out, and I told Bill, I said, listen, this is what this is. And this is what changed the movie. It changed us. I found that all women are dark girls. It has nothing to do with tone or color. It has everything to do with the lack of self-esteem. That was the lesson that I learned. Also is that, what's interesting is that every season, and we have 4, a carrot is dangled in front of women to be something else. You change your hair, your body shape, your color, this dress, these pair of shoes, every season. And then they show you a magazine cover, this is what the new fashion is like for this season. And no one in here looks like that. So they dangle this carrot. You chase that, and you pay billions of dollars into this thing. And being something that you can't, will never ever be. Another thing, the skin bleaching situation, worldwide. We had a woman that we found out about who was bleaching her skin on the continent of Africa, and another one who I heard about in Jamaica. These women the one in Africa was buying European skin bleaching creams and doing twice a day. Basically about it. The sister in Jamaica was buying it off the road, on the side of the road. They were in plastic bags of pink, green, these pastel colors. She was putting hers on at least 3 times a day. Now, when you do that, and you go to wash off in the river that flows down this way, the people who are drinking the water down that way and washing their clothes off are drinking that madness that you put on your skin. Then, 6 months to a year and a half after that, skin cancer. So I'm saying, what I'm saying also is that mothers and fathers, especially fathers, If you have daughters, you need to tell your daughter that she's beautiful the way she is. Mothers, tell your daughters that she's beautiful the way she is. And for those who are Christians, telling your daughter or your son that the color that they are is not a good thing. Are you saying that God made a mistake? What are you saying? Question. Yes.
Hi. I have a question. Did you, in the course of your interviewing, address the situation about adoption, mixed adoptions? There are a lot of white Hollywood celebrities, Black Hollywood, but mostly white Hollywood celebrities that are adopting dark kids.